Alright, hello and welcome everyone. It's been a minute since I did this, so you'll have to excuse me. We're not here to play Silent Hill 2. We're here to have a little chat. I won't be the first person, and I'm pretty late to the party here. But welcome back to Lobsterpiece Theater, or whatever we call this, where I talk about movies and review them. Let's talk about the return to Silent Hill. All the popular YouTubers out there who do movies will have already jumped all over this, but you know, I needed to say a few things because, oh my goodness. Years ago, I did a review of Silent Hill, the first two movies, and my Lobsterpiece Theater program that is defunct, and I might bring back someday, but I will never bring back those reviews, so you'll never see them. But I used to really hate Silent Hill Revelation 3D. I did a lot of watching that, or a lot of talking about that and about how it was, you know, there were problems with it. Also, this is still kind of loud, so let me just reduce that a little bit, just so I can talk. I'm gonna do my best to focus on what I'm saying and not focus on the gameplay. That's why I kind of picked this part of the game to do, because it's a little chill. It's chill for a little while, and it's easy to do that. And I'm going to skip cutscenes unless it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Okay, James, we got to use our... no, I'm using my controller, please. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Anyway, once upon a time, Silent Hill 1, the movie, came out. And it was like Silent Hill the game, except they made some strange changes to the story and added in this weird Christian witch-burning cult and some other things. But the locations, the camera angles, the practical effects were all amazing. And then they made Silent Hill Revelation 3D, which was like the same movie. It was trying to be a connection movie, but they pretended like the cult was completely different. They pretended like Pyramid Head was Alessa's guardian angel who had to fight all the big bad guys for her. They pretended like a lot of stuff in the first movie didn't happen, which didn't make any sense at all. Well, welcome to the... Now it's time, you know, more than 10 years later, to return to Silent Hill. And, oh boy, they did it again! Christoph Gans, that man, he decided... First of all, this is something I haven't watched a lot of these reviews, but I think people are complaining. Okay, I don't know why I suck at this right now. People are complaining about the characters not being the same, or all the weird plot holes in it. Can we just mention the town real quick? This is not the same Silent Hill from the first two movies. First of all, James's license plate at the beginning of the movie, where he's driving his little fancy Mustang around, his little muscle car Mustang around, it says Massachusetts, and he's local, right, to the area. I assume he lives in Boston, because they keep referring to the city, and the only city in that big city that I'm aware of. I mean, there's other smaller cities. It could be something else, but is Boston. So Silent Hill is in Massachusetts now. Whereas it was in West Virginia before. It was the coal burning town, because the coal fires were still burning underground, and that's why there's all the fire and ash everywhere, which never happened in the games. It was snow, it was fog, it was just weird supernatural stuff. It was never there didn't have to be a magical fire burning under the town to represent hell and brimstone. Well, it's a different Silent Hill. It's actually on Toluca Lake. It actually looks like the version of Silent Hill from this game. They were clearly inspired by this remake when they made that movie. They did that. It was a thing. But it's still got the fire, the ash, and the fire, and the brimstone, and the fire, the coal. They don't mention a coal mine, but they're like, there was the big fires, and then the water treatment plant went bad, and everything flooded, and all the water got bad, and everybody started getting sick, and it's like, what? What? How did... So I was in a theater with a bunch of people at the time when I saw this, and they were all, people weren't reacting, but I tried to be respectful as I could. But what I said was watching the movie probably at least 3 dozen times. I was like, what? What? And there was one point where I burst out laughing, like out loud. And I feel terrible. I feel a little bad about that, but I'm not going to apologize because this movie it completely deserves it. I'm going to talk about that because it's insane what they did with this game. This might not be the best part of the gameplay to actually play through but like I said, it's kind of chill right now. There's not a whole lot. Okay, I have a chainsaw because I played, this is New Game Plus mode. This is one of my old saves. I just loaded up for the point of, I'm just running around. Yeah. James, just keep your gun. It's fine. But, so I don't really care if people don't look like people, if James doesn't look like video game James. If, the voice actor, the actress who played Mary and Maria was pretty good. Like, I had no problem with her. Most of the characters, the costumes, the locations looked pretty good. Like, the beginning of the game starts out, or the beginning of the movie starts out at the same bathroom. They do the bathroom shots. I mean, they do like a little, like, this is how James met Mary thing at the beginning. I'm spoiling the entire thing right now. But by the way, this is completely a spoiler thing. If you hadn't already gathered that, I'm not holding anything back. I'm not going to be like, oh, this might happen, or I theorize this. No, I'm just 100% blazing through my thoughts and feelings on this movie because it was amazing. It was terrible. It was the worst Silent Hill movie they've made. It has a horrible Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a horrible score and everything else. It's also just like the funniest movie. If you deserve anything, when this hits streaming, and it will because it's good, it's pretty much done in theaters already after like a week. You will get to have an amazing time. Yeah. But yeah, I lost my train of thought now. So it starts out with all these really good shots, and then James goes to Silent Hill, and all of a sudden, it's instantly Metal Greatland. It's instantly the weird fire and brimstone Silent Hill with the bugs everywhere and the lying figures. Actually, I had a really hard time being able to tell whether the lying figures were supposed to be CG or not. I feel like the monsters in that movie were sometimes CG, sometimes people in costumes. I don't know the making of. I've seen a little bit, like scenes other YouTubers have put up and things to show that, like, that. Oh, I'm just getting a lot of maps right now. Things other YouTubers have put up to show where, stuff from the movies and the making of and all that, so you can see like where it was people in costumes sometimes, and the Pyramid Head, who's still in this movie despite not making any sense in the Silent Hill canon now. That was a person in a suit. That was clear. That all makes perfect sense to me. Well, time to break down the wall with the old chainsaw. No, James, no, not that. So stuff still did look pretty good, but they do all the classic locations from Silent Hill 2. They do the Woodhaven apartment, or the Wood side apartments. Jeez, I couldn't think of the name. Brookhaven Hospital, which also in Silent Hill Revelation 3D they had Brookhaven Hospital, and they're supposed to be the same hospital. So it didn't look anything. Brookhaven Hospital is another thing I want to talk about, but I'll talk about that when I get there. I'm just kind of doing an intro. And they had the hotel here. The hotel in the movie was 100% completely on fire because at that point in the movie they were running low on their runtime and they needed to speed through to the part where it's on fire or it's dead. I always assumed that the hotel had burned down. Then it's never explicit that happens. I always just kind of assumed that was what had happened to this hotel, that it had burned down. I was even going to write like a fan fiction one time about a character who lived in Silent Hill and witnessed the hotel burning down. And then weird stuff started to happen in the town because of that, or after that, or whatever. Having nothing to do with James and his story. I mean, they do the James story. They do the James and Mary story. It's heart. It's still a love story about James and Mary and their little life together. We did a pretty good job with that, except that they decided to insert the Silent Hill cult into the story for whatever reason. Yeah, we're not reading stuff. We're not really playing the game. I'm just walking around picking stuff up and looking at stuff so you can kind of see this game a little bit too. If you've never seen Silent Hill 2 Remake, this is what it looks like. But yeah, so Mary, she was running away from Silent Hill when James meets her, and then he decides he offers to give her a ride back into home. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from there. I'm from Silent Hill. It's a nice town or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll take you back." And she's like, "Oh, okay." But she actually doesn't really want to go back, but she doesn't tell him that at the time, because when she goes back, she's basically stuck. We're doing the business bidding of this cult, because her dad was like some big-time cult leader. And they never explain anything about what his cult was about or what he was doing. Oh, yeah. Or anything like that. He was just a guy who had a cult, and these people are fanatical. There's about 20 of them or so, and you see them for a while, and they're just running around doing whatever with Mary. And they're obsessed with her because she was the daughter of this cult leader, and they're constantly hanging off her and like there's all these scenes where it would have been cool. What I thought they were gonna do, all these scenes where it would have just been cool to have, like, okay, I've been in most of these. I'm avoiding going to the restaurant, but I guess I probably can. I can go upstairs for a minute, look at that stuff. I thought they were just going to show more of how James and Mary's relationship built, and that's what I feel like they should have done. But no, they just show all these scenes of where like the cult shows up and like takes Mary somewhere, and James is like, "Hey, suspicious," and then he starts getting like all accusatory towards her, like, "Hey, you gotta stop messing around with those people," blah blah blah, and she's like, "No, stop judging me. This is what I knew would happen if I came back here." And then he eventually like follows her down to the sewer. They're doing some kind of weird ritual with Mary where they've got her like up on an altar, and then they like, I thought they were like, when I watched the movie, I thought they were killing her and eating her. And I was like, wait, how does that happen? How like, you know, eating her is like to absorb her power or whatever. And I was like, how does that happen? But no, like they're just like rubbing stuff on her and doing weird stuff with her. He gets mad and eventually like yells at her and breaks up with her and like leaves. And it's like, James, why didn't you just stay away after that? This woman is all sorts of red flags. Why would you keep doing this? And it was a little bit of an interesting, you know, why did we need to insert a cult? This game is about a man exploring an abandoned town. There's barely ever any people in it. And it didn't need to have, like, this whole cult aspect to it. So let's talk about the other characters in the movie. And we're going to go in here and do the thing. I'm going to skip the cuts. Well, not entirely going to skip the cutscene. I guess I'll let it kind of play out. Because it's relevant to what I'm going to talk about. So they have all the characters, including this girl, Laura.
Yeah, you did.
And actually, they got the voice actress who voices this character right now was also in the movie. She played the character. And they made the character kind of look a lot like this version of her.
So.
But, let me see how do I skip this? Let's skip it.
You got any other
so I don't
plan?
have
I think
to.
I saw it dark.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. I wanted to mention Laura, but they made Laura like creepy little girl. Like the whole time she's like, "Ooh, spooky! I'm gonna get you!" And she has this weird like baby thing with her that's like alive, and she's like just like spooky, right? For being the sake of being spooky. She never adds anything to the story. She never does the whole like, "Oh, you didn't love Mary anyway," or you know, "You're not Mary's friend, and I'm." You know, I don't like you because you messed around with Mary. No, she's just spooky. She's just like, "I'm spooky, James. I'm a spooky dookie. I'm a run, be spooky. I'm gonna lock you in." She still locks him in like the room in the in Brookhaven Hospital. but when she locks him in there, it's like so he could be like, she's like, you gotta remember, James, you gotta remember stuff. It'd be spooky because the big reveal partway through the movie is that James goes to a okay, yeah. James goes to a graveyard, and in that graveyard, there's a tombstone for Mary, and Mary's name is Mary Laura Angela Crane. Like, they did that. Oh, you know what? I don't care. Why are you not? Didn't care. Oh, come back here. Buddy, didn't care. So, Laura, Angela, Maria, and Mary. I had a hard time believing that Maria was supposed to be the same. Like, the weird. What are you doing? Yeah. I had a hard time believing that Maria was supposed to be the same person in that movie at first. Like, because they introduced Maria as just like. You remember in Silent Hill Revelation 3D when there's like. That girl who's like, we were just hitchhikers, took the wrong road, and ended up here. It's like, how? How do random people end up in Silent Hill? But like, oh yeah, the Key of Sorrow. Maria is just like, oh yeah, I just randomly ended up here, and I've been surviving in Silent Hill for like a week. She doesn't act like creepy Maria at all, ever. She's the most normal person in the whole movie. Everybody else is like insane and creepy when James meets them. But Maria is just like, oh yeah, I'm just some normal girl who ended up in Silent Hill or whatever. Can we stick together and you can look out for me? And it's the same actress who plays Mary, but it doesn't, it's just, and she looked like the most like Maria, the most like the character of any of the characters in the movie, but it was just like, why? Why was this necessary? Why did we need Maria to be this person? And then later James is just like, I don't like you anymore, killer Pyramid Head. They do the scene in Brookhaven where she gets stabbed in the elevator, but it's by nurses, not Pyramid Head. And then later, he's in, like, the labyrinth with her, and he's just like, killer Pyramid Head, I don't like her anymore. And then Pyramid Head shows up and kills her. So let's talk about Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head was James. Like, I mean, yeah, in the game, Pyramid Head is supposed to be, like, a representation of James's, like, need to punish himself or whatever. It's like... He's in his own head or whatever. But literally in the movie, it's James inside of the Pyramid Head mask. You see it at one point. It's like, what? It's just James. He's only in like 2 scenes. Oh, they kept one of the scenes where Pyramid Head like has weird stuff with monsters. They had to put that in there. They take out so many other essential scenes to the game, but and like plot points. But they had to keep Pyramid Head doing his weird business with the monsters, and James hiding in the closet to watch. Oh yeah, they kept that. But it's like James never fights back. He never has a gun. He never does anything. Not that he needs to. It could just be a movie about James exploring the... Oh no! You go away. Stop it. You stop it. Yeah, not that he ever needed to. Not that I wanted to see, like, action movie James fights a bunch of monsters, but they brought back the mannequin spider from Silent Hill Revelation 3D. They just made it much smaller. They love that monster design, so they had to bring it back, even though it has nothing to do with anything. But yeah, let's talk a little. I got distracted from talking about Pyramid Head. So remember how Pyramid Head was supposed to be, like, Alessa's guardian angel and, like, protected her? Why is he here? I understand they're still doing the James and Mary story, so it's kind of about that instead of about Pyramid Head or whatever. Or about what it was normally about. But, and that has nothing to do with, but this is clearly the same, you're trying to do the same Silent Hill, or at least the same theming, where there's like a bunch of fire and ash and such, and all that, and all those things. You're clearly trying to do all that. But you still have Pyramid Head here. And he's just James in a suit. But yeah, I don't know. I liked the characters. I didn't like Angela. Angela didn't feel like Angela. But that's because she wasn't Angela. She was Mary Maria Crane, Laura Angela. Yeah, Mary's last name is Crane now, too, because she has to be, like, the version of Mary that, is this. She has to be Mary. It was a cult. They have to invent this Jacob Crane person who is her father that you never see, but it's implied that Mary had all of the backstories of all the other characters too. Like she still had the Angela like trauma backstory, and she still had the I don't know, her normal backstory. Plus she has the cult backstory. She had the getting sick and James being, but James is disgusted by her because she's in the cult, not because she's ugly. Like, he gets mad and, like, disgusted at her because of all the cult stuff. And it defeats the entire purpose. The beautiful story that they tell here, where you find out that James was actually a monster the whole time and did all these things, it's pointless. It doesn't matter because James killed Mary because she asks him to, because the cult people are slowly killing her or whatever. What if her father did something to her? He, like, gave her the White Claudia drug to, like, poison her mind. For some reason, because she has to be, like, the angel of the cult or whatever. I think I'm just kind of going in circles. I got another key we got to go use somewhere else, so I'll do that. But, yeah, Mary Maria Angela Laura Crane is just, like, this tragic character still. It just wasn't a good movie, even as a movie. That's where it fails. Silent Hill Revelation 3D, I at least enjoy as a movie, like... It tells a coherent story. It tells the story of Heather fairly well. This did not tell the story of Silent Hill 2. It made up everything it wanted. It makes up its entire plot. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just complete and total nonsense the entire time. But it's hilarious nonsense. There is Eddie. Eddie doesn't sit around and eat pizza. He shows up for 5. Eddie should have been played by Jack Black. That is a major missed step there. Like, I understand you didn't really have any other major name actors in this who had done anything too significant with their career, but man, Eddie should have been Jack Black. Oh, hi. Forgot you were here. Yeah, we'll just... yeah. Because he kind of looks like a Jack Black, if Jack Black and Seth Rogen were like the same person or something like that. And he's just some kind of... He just shows up in the one scene inside the apartment building. They do the Eddie is puking in the toilet scene. And then they do... Eddie just is like, hey James, you should live here with me and be my roommate. This place is cool. Like, I like living in Silent Hill. And then Pyramid Head shows up and he's like, oh no, I don't like living in Silent Hill anymore. And then he just starts beating James up. He's just like punching him. He's like, yeah, you're never going anywhere, are you, Jimmy boy? Oh yeah, I'm just going to beat you. And then he runs away. And it's just like, what? So Eddie's just crazy straight from the start. He doesn't do the whole pretend to be like normal and then suddenly go batshit insane. It's just like, yeah. But, yeah, I can't get over Mary Maria Laura Crane. That was the most insane, ridiculous... Oh, wait, there's a nurse in here. Hello, nurse. Yeah. What else did I want to talk about with this movie? Oh, Brookhaven Hospital, since we're here in the medical room. Yeah, so they didn't use the same Brookhaven Hospital from the other movie at all, which would have made too much sense. But Brookhaven Hospital is this, like, weird modern-day hospital that just has, like, a frickin' second story, or, like, multiple stories. It doesn't look like a real hospital. I know it is. It's just too nice of a hospital. You know what? Pop, pop, open up the door, it's real. Yeah. But then, so there's this whole weird subplot in this movie where James has a psychiatrist, this lady who just keeps calling him to be like, don't go to Silent Hill, James. He's like, I'm gonna go to Silent Hill. And then he does it anyway. And she's just like constantly like, no, don't do it. You'll have all these bad memories. But when he goes to Silent Hill, he's immediately in Metal Greatland, right? Like, he goes there and he's just like barely there. He meets some hobo and she keeps calling him. But then there's a weird scene halfway through the movie after he goes to Brookhaven Hospital and does the whole thing where, you know, hangs out with Maria for a while and does all the chases Laura down. When he gets locked in the room with the boss, he gets basically killed by the boss monster in the ceiling. That is also Mary, because everything has to be Mary in this movie. Because yeah, you know, Mary Maria Laura Angela Crane. Anyway, he does that, and then he wakes up in the real world hospital with his psychiatrist, and she's just like, I can't help you if you can't help yourself. You don't want to get better. You blame yourself for all the guilt of the stuff you did. And they don't reveal that he killed Mary until the very end of the movie. But why? You know, who cares? What? Where? Oh, she must be behind me somewhere. I don't care. Yeah. They don't reveal that, but the stuff, yeah, he's just in the frickin' like. Uh-oh, I was on the wrong side. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're doing that. We're in this room. Yeah. And it's like, how is this the real world though? Up until this point, we had never seen the real world version of Silent Hill. Like, yeah, if it's like the other movies, you get that, you had that weird... I actually like the parts in the first Silent Hill where they have Sean Bean running around in the real world version at the same time that, what's her name? The not Harry Mason lady is running around, Rose is running around in, the Fog World, and they're like in the same place, but it's foggy in her world, showing that there's this juxtaposition where there's like a real world version. But they never once had that in this whole movie. Until that one scene, and it's just like out of nowhere, all of a sudden, and you're just like, what? Why did that happen? Is she down there? I can't tell. Yeah, I don't want to do this right now while I'm talking. I'm about ready to wrap this up. I think I've said about all I need to say, but just why? But then it doesn't matter because James can just magically will himself to go back to Silent Hill. Like, back to the Fog World version, I mean. Yeah. So the movie ends on the usual note with Maria. You know, he goes to the top of the hotel, and it was like his special place. It wasn't that one hotel room where he leaves his videotape behind. They skip through, they spend a ton of time in the apartment building in the beginning, like a ton of time. Because they gotta introduce Pyramid Head and do all the Pyramid Head stuff. Give him his big scene. And then they spend like a little bit of time in Brookhaven Hospital. And then they spend a ton of time in, or they spend almost no time in the rest of the movie. He never goes to the prison. He spends like 5 minutes in the labyrinth with Maria being like, die, Maria, die, I hate you. You're not useful to me anymore. And then he spends like the last little bit in the hotel where he instantly climbs the top of the hotel through all the fire and goes up and sees Mary, and she's like the weird bed monster, except she has wings like a moth because they have this constant, like, I guess the moth thing was really important. I mean, this game also did that. Like, as you can see here, there's all the bird cages. There's a lot more moth symbolism. Because moths are a symbol of death and rebirth, and that's why they did it. And that was the whole, like, you know, thing. But in that movie, it's just, no, moths were just what the cult was all about. So that's what she turns into in the end. And she has, like, extra arms and stuff. And, so he does that, and then he gets the in-water ending. The whole time I'm sitting there in the movie like, yeah, James is headed for the in-water ending, right? Like, he's just gonna drive his car off the lake. And he drives his nice Mustang into the lake, and that's it, right? No, James gets to instantly come back to life, goes back in time to when he first met Mary, And then he has suddenly the power to know... Okay, I didn't want to do that. I was trying to swing the... How do I... There we go. He knows everything that happens about the cult and the town and what's going to happen to her if he takes her back to Silent Hill. So he proceeds to not take her back to Silent Hill. And leave. And they have a happy ending, and you presume... It's presumed after that that... Okay, you are getting on my nerves. Sorry. I had to kill that before I could be allowed to talk again. It's presumed that they just live a happily ever after and nothing's bad ever again. We don't get the Maria ending where James is like, you should do something about that cough. Like, James is just kind of a jerk to her the whole movie, but it's justified because she's kind of, like, weird with her stupid father's cult stuff. And she never says no to these people, even though she was apparently getting ready to, like, leave them. She never tries to leave them again. It's just weird. Like, hey. No. You don't get to come over here. No. Bad. So, yeah. They took some inspiration from this game. They took some inspiration from the original game. They took a lot of inspiration from Christoph Gann's previous incarnations of the Silent Hill movies. But they can't even get that right. It's even more confusing than Silent Hill Revelation. It just makes up everything it wants to make up. It does whatever it wants. The characters don't have any real motivations that make any sense. And Silent Hill isn't even in West Virginia anymore. I don't know anything anymore, apparently. But you know what? It was the damn best movie ever. If you want to go see... If you want to watch... When this comes to streaming, I guarantee... Go do yourself a favor. Get some friends together. Just watch Return to Silent Hill. You will not regret it. It is an amazing, absolutely spectacular movie. And yes, I've spoiled like the majority of the movie, but it doesn't matter because nothing makes any sense. Anyway, in closing, I would like to say Mary Maria Laura Angela Crane. Bye. See you next time.